something is happening to you right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. And if you found this video on this specific day, March 28th or beforehand, I need you to understand something before we go any further. This is not a coincidence. There are days that pass without meaning, days where the energy is flat, where life moves on autopilot, where nothing significant shifts beneath the surface. March 28th is not one of those days, and if you've been feeling something lately, something you can't quite name, something quiet but persistent, something that makes ordinary moments feel slightly more loaded than they used to, then what I'm about to tell you is going to make that feeling make complete sense for the first time. Today, two of the most powerful and slow-moving forces in the entire astrological sky just locked into a precise alignment for the first time since 2013. Saturn, now positioned at exactly 5 degrees of Aries, and Pluto, positioned at exactly 5 degrees of Aquarius, have formed what astrologers call a sextile, a rare, cooperative angle between two planets that rarely agree on anything. This isn't a collision. It's not a crisis. It's something far more interesting than that. It's a construction, a quiet, deep structural upgrade happening beneath the surface of your life, whether you're consciously aware of it or not. The last time these two planets formed this exact alignment, we were in 2013. Before that, 1994. These are generational moments, rare windows. And you are watching this on the day it peaks. But here's what I need you to understand before we go any further, because most people will get this completely wrong. This transit is not dramatic. It won't announce itself with fireworks or overwhelming emotion. It won't hand you a list of answers or show up as a sudden, obvious breakthrough. Saturn and Pluto don't work that way. They work the way a foundation is laid, quietly, precisely, and deep underground, long before anyone can see the building that rises above it. What they do instead is show up in symptoms, 9 very specific symptoms that spiritually attuned people are already experiencing right now. And if even 3 of these describe what your last 48 to 72 hours have looked like, this energy has already found you. The only question now is whether you understand what it's doing. Let's go through them one by one. The first symptom is this. You feel unusually tired, but you're not sad. There's no grief attached to it, no anxiety you can point to, no obvious reason for the heaviness in your body. You slept. You did the things you were supposed to do. And yet, by mid-afternoon, there's a kind of weight that settles over you that you can't shake. You might have already assumed it was physical. Not enough water, not enough sleep, the weather changing. But that's not what this is. When Saturn and Pluto align, they redirect the flow of energy inside your system at a fundamental level. Think of it like your body's internal electrical wiring being quietly rerouted. The energy hasn't disappeared. It's being reallocated. It's being pulled away from the surface level of your life and sent downward, deep into the places inside you that are undergoing structural change. The tiredness you're feeling isn't depletion, it's absorption. Your system is working harder than usual on a level you can't consciously observe. The fatigue is proof that something real is happening. Let yourself rest without guilt today. You're not doing nothing. You're integrating. The second symptom, someone from your past has been crossing your mind. Not in an obsessive way, not in a painful, spiraling way. Just appearing. Maybe it's someone you haven't thought about in a year. Maybe it's a situation you were convinced you had fully moved on from. Maybe it's a version of yourself from a chapter you thought was finished, and it keeps surfacing. In a quiet moment while you're doing the dishes, in that half-awake space just before sleep, in a random memory that plays back with surprising clarity. This is Saturn's work. Saturn rules time, structure, and the weight of the past. When Saturn aligns with Pluto, the planet of what is buried, what is hidden, what refuses to stay underground, the two of them conduct what can only be described as a spiritual audit. They surface old emotional contracts, unresolved agreements, the things you said goodbye to before you were truly finished with them, or the things that were never actually finished, even though you filed them away as closed. This surfacing is not an invitation to go backward. It's a final accounting, a chance to see those old threads clearly, to realize how much weight they still carry, or to discover, with surprising relief, that they no longer carry any weight at all. The appearance of the past right now is not a sign you're stuck, it's a sign you're being cleared. The third symptom, a decision you've been debating for weeks, suddenly feels obvious. You didn't force the clarity, you didn't sit down and logic your way to it. It simply arrived, the way sunlight arrives when a cloud moves without being summoned, and now you can't figure out why it ever felt so complicated in the first place. The choice that was making you spiral is suddenly sitting quietly in front of you with a kind of settled certainty you don't fully understand, but also don't want to question. This is one of the most precise gifts of this alignment. Saturn sextile Pluto is a time when we can see ourselves and our purpose very clearly. The post-eclipse clarity wave that has been building since the blood moon of March 3rd has finally reached your decision-making layer. Mercury has also recently stationed direct, meaning the mental fog of retrograde season is lifting. And as these forces combine with today's Saturn-Pluto alignment, the result is a quality of clarity that doesn't feel forced or manufactured. It feels earned. It feels like the conclusion of a long process your subconscious has been running quietly in the background for months. Trust what became obvious today. It didn't arrive accidentally. The fourth symptom, a restlessness you can't name. Like you're supposed to be somewhere or doing something, but you can't figure out what. It's not anxiety, it's not boredom, it's more directional than that. Like a compass needle that's spinning. Searching for north, knowing north exists but not quite locking on yet. You might have found yourself picking up your phone and putting it back down. Starting something and stopping. Moving from room to room without really knowing why. Feeling like the ordinary rhythms of your day are somehow insufficient today. Like something underneath them is vibrating at a frequency you haven't caught up to yet. Your higher self is already oriented toward what's coming. It has already received the signal from this alignment, the body, the conscious mind, the practical layer of your daily life. They simply haven't caught up yet. That restlessness is the gap between where you are right now and where you're about to be. It's not meaningless discomfort. It's movement. You are being called forward by something you can feel before you can see it. The compass is searching for true north. Give it 1 or 2 more days. The lock is coming. The fifth symptom, things that used to excite you feel completely flat. Not depressing. Not painful. Just hollow, empty in a way that's hard to explain to people who aren't going through the same thing. Because from the outside, everything looks fine. The hobbies, the routines, the social plans, the goals you were chasing 6 months ago. You look at them and feel almost nothing. And a part of you is quietly wondering whether something is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. You've simply outgrown the frequency. Saturn in Aries and Pluto in Aquarius are rewarding disciplined reinvention and structural transformation, tearing down what no longer serves and rebuilding with intention. And part of what gets torn down in this process is your emotional attachment to the old containers of your life. The things that used to fit your identity perfectly, but no longer match who you're becoming. The flatness you feel isn't apathy. It's graduation. The things that no longer light you up are showing you exactly where your old self ends and your next self begins. This is not depression. This is direction. What excites you now, even faintly, even just a small, quiet pull towards something new. Pay attention to that. That signal matters more than anything else right now. The sixth symptom. Your dreams have been more vivid, more specific, or harder to shake off than usual. Not chaotic, meaningless dreams. Specific ones. Dreams that feel organized in a way that regular dreams don't. Dreams where faces, places, or situations from different parts of your life appear together in the same space. Dreams you remember in unusual detail hours after waking. Dreams that leave you with a feeling you carry through most of the morning, without being able to fully explain what it was. When your waking life is going through the kind of structural reorganization Saturn and Pluto produce, your sleeping mind becomes the workshop, deeper structural changes are starting to gain practical support. Saturn brings discipline and implementation. Pluto brings systemic transformation, and the mind processes this at every level, including the one only accessible in sleep. Your dreams right now are not random noise. They are your subconscious mind sorting through what's being released, what's being kept, and what's being rebuilt. The symbols in them are less important than the feeling they leave behind. Are you waking up with a sense of resolution, of recognition, of something being settled that was previously unresolved? A feeling is data. Pay attention to it. The seventh symptom, an overwhelming urge to clean, organize, or simplify something in your physical environment. Maybe you've been rearranging furniture. Maybe you've started going through clothes you haven't touched in years. Maybe you've been deleting old messages, unsubscribing from things, clearing out digital spaces you forgot existed. Something in you is driven to reduce, to strip away the accumulated clutter and return to something simpler and cleaner. And you can't fully explain the urgency behind it. This is your external world mirroring your internal one. The conscious rebuild is underway. We are finally aligning our individual drive with the emerging needs of a new chapter, and the body knows this before the mind does. The physical act of decluttering is your system's way of making space, not just in your home, but in your energetic field. For what's coming, every item you remove, every drawer you clear, every corner you simplify is an unconscious act of preparation. You are making room. Don't resist the impulse. Let the environment around you reflect the internal reorganization that's already underway. The eighth symptom. You are suddenly unexpectedly protective of your time and energy in a way you've never quite felt before. Phone calls you would have answered without thinking. You now hesitate before picking up. Plans you would have agreed to automatically. You now pause before confirming. Conversations that used to feel neutral. You now notice draining you in ways they didn't used to. It's not that you've become cold or antisocial. It's that your internal filter has quietly recalibrated. And where it once let almost everything through, it is now far more precise about what it allows inside your space. This is your instincts preparing you. Venus conjuncted Chiron, the great wound healer, just days ago on March 26th, creating a moment of deep self-worth clarity for many people. A recognition, however quiet, of how much of themselves they've been giving away without accounting for the cost. And as Venus now approaches her home sign of Taurus in just 2 days, the frequency of self-worth, self-possession, and knowing your own value is building in the collective field. Your sudden protectiveness over your energy is not selfishness. It is self-knowledge, and it is arriving exactly on time, preparing you for the abundance cycle that begins the moment Venus crosses into Taurus. You cannot receive what you never saved space for. Your instincts are saving space. The ninth symptom, and this is the most important one, a quiet but unwavering certainty that something is about to change, even though nothing on the surface has moved yet. There's no logical evidence for it. Nothing dramatic has happened. Your circumstances look almost identical to what they looked like a week ago, and yet something in you knows, with a calm, almost eerie confidence, that the ground beneath your life is no longer the same. That a gear has turned somewhere deep in the machinery of your path, that the next chapter is not far away. It is in fact already beginning. You just can't see the first page yet. There is a deep wisdom that becomes available this week. A chance to have an influence on how these changes proceed. If we can see beyond the intensity of the moment and move with detachment and balance, that quiet certainty you're carrying is not wishful thinking. It is accurate perception. You are feeling the tremor before the shift registers on the surface. You are sensing the movement of foundations that have been quietly repositioning themselves for months, through the blood moon, through the retrograde, through the eclipse season, through every moment you chose to keep going even when nothing felt clear. This is a time of achievement and success, one that rewards endurance, focus, and the willingness to filter out background noise and apply yourself to what truly matters. The certainty you feel is earned. It is the natural result of everything you have already walked through. And now it's time for today's comment of the day. I've been feeling this for days and couldn't explain it to anyone. It was like I was waiting for something, but didn't know what. Reading this felt like someone finally turned the lights on. That's exactly it. That's the moment this alignment is built for. Not the dramatic revelation, but the quiet one. The light turning on in a room you already knew but couldn't quite see. Most people will spend today without understanding what is moving beneath the surface of their lives. They'll scroll past the feeling, explain it away, push through it, or assume something is wrong. But you're here. You stayed, and that tells me something very specific about where you are on your path right now. Here's what I want you to understand as we close. This Saturn sextile Pluto is a standalone transit, a one-time pass that won't repeat with this exact configuration. The last time these two planets cooperated like this, the world was 2013. Before that, 1994. You are living inside one of the rarest structural alignment windows of your generation. And it is not asking you to perform. It is not asking you to make grand gestures or dramatic declarations. It is only asking you to pay attention, to notice the symptoms, to stop dismissing what you feel as coincidence, to trust that the quiet certainty building inside you has a legitimate source. From the individual drive of Aries to the collective vision of Aquarius, we aren't just surviving the change anymore, we are authoring it. You are not behind. You are not behind. You're not imagining this. What you are is precisely positioned. By every choice you made, every moment you kept going, every version of yourself you outgrew on the way here, to feel this alignment land exactly where it was always meant to land. Something is changing. You already know it. And whatever comes next, let it meet you here, exactly as you are, because the foundation being laid beneath you right now is stronger than anything you stood on before. And for the first time in a long time, what's being built is entirely yours.